So I have dreamed of standing behind a bar since I was about a 15-year-old kid. I don't know that I've ever shared this with anyone before, but I used to sneak cans of soda out back of my house with a shot glass that I had gotten on vacation and take shots of Mountain Dew while I was letting the dogs out as a teenager. This is also how I figured out that a standard shot glass is 1.5 ounces after I was getting 8 shots out of a 12-ounce can. So fast forward about 8 years while I am cooking at the illustrious Shrewsbury Cracker Barrel and going to events in Baltimore City that I would have liked to have dubbed concerts, but based around the amount of bass and ecstasy in the room could be called nothing less than a rave. And I meet this questionably sane, also 20-something, who says that her older sister is the executive chef of a restaurant in Baltimore and a scratch kitchen and a scratch bar. And I feel like I have struck gold. I mean, A, there's the fact that there's this 20-something that, granted, was on ecstasy, but was still really in my personal space. And also career advancement. Well, being the enterprising 20-something that I was, what else was I supposed to do? So I follow her and wind up on a pizza and garmager station near a craft bar. It's funny how some things come really full circle. But this kitchen is the size of a closet, and her older sister is my executive chef, who stands about 3 feet away from me. And this person and I have no idea what reason, are not fond of each other. Fuck around and find out, I suppose. So there comes a day where she takes a swing at me in the middle of line because she doesn't like the way a pizza that I'm sending is about to come out. And I've also been living with one of their bartenders for something to the tune of 6 months by this point. And suddenly, once again, that enterprising 20-something sees an opportunity. I pull the owner into the side office and I'm like, hey, by the way, just so you know, your chef took a little bit of a swing at me online today. And I don't know if you know, but that's an assault charge and a lawsuit. Or you can hand me $500 in cash. And that barback position that opened up a week ago, yeah, that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. Now, my roommate at that point was one of the bartenders. So, of course, he was on the side just kind of nudging everyone like, yeah, let's do this. He and I had had conversation upon conversation about what we did for a living. So the owner looks at me, kind of looks at the floor for a minute, opens up the cash drawer, hands me $500, and my roommate and I drank that night, my friends. So I walk into work the next day, and I report to my barback shift, and I don't wind up with this guy named Jerry, who I've been living with and having all these conversations with. No, I wind up with our other bartender named Bane. And this man's mother named him so appropriately. He was this late 30-something, sleeved up, tattooed, kind of grunge punk looking elder bartender who also happened to be a 10-year recovering alcoholic and heroin addict. There are some differences in experience. But he would no longer taste anything. He judged every cocktail based around how it smelled. He wouldn't let me speak to anyone from behind that bar until I could make him an old-fashioned, a Manhattan, and a Sazerac that all passed the smell test. And anyone that didn't, friends, I had to drink it. I spent a lot of time drunk on really bad whiskey cocktails that year. But I also figured out a few things about tending bar, including what vermouth smells like. At the end of that time, he left that bar and took me with him. He told me I was his entailed barback and co-bartender. And we went to a few other spots around town, and they all fizzled out in about 3 months, and we parted ways. And trust me, there are a few other stories in there, but those are for a different day and a different time. I went back to see him a few years ago, and he had always told me that he didn't drink anymore because if he ever did, he'd be out ripping and running again the very next day. And I sat down across his bar, and he looked at me. He went, "Oh, hey, Cracker," because that was my name. Once again, no idea why. Nothing about the restaurant I came from before him. And he went, "I'm going to do something that's going to blow your mind." And he pours me 2 shots of Jameson. And Jameson was what he always gave me back in the day when he would lose his glasses somewhere behind the bar, and I would find them for him. This absolutely did not lead to me stealing his glasses, ever. Not once. And he looks at me and he goes, "All right, I'm going to blow your mind. cheers. And he took the shot with me. And honestly, it's one of the saddest moments I've had with a mentor ever, because I had put him on this pedestal of impeccable. You can 10 bar all day, you can smell it all day, but never taste it. But I hope that somewhere, for showing me the way, he still has the will to have stopped again. Cheers, guys.